الحمد لله وكفى والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى ما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أم حسبت أن أصحاب الكهف والرقيم كانوا من آياتنا عجبا صدق الله العظيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. My respected brothers, elders and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
So the topic that we were given is Ashabul Kahf, which are the people of the cave. And a couple of things I want to mention before we get into the topic, inshallah ta'ala. It's a very important topic. Number one, first and foremost, is that I myself personally have heard the story countless times. And I'm pretty sure many people here have heard the story of Ashabul Kahf many times. It's not something that is new to the Muslim community. It's not something which is foreign to the Muslim community. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put it right in the middle of the Quran, Surah Al-Kahf. And so who here has heard the story before? I'm pretty sure you have a good hand, mashallah ta'ala, ya alhamdulillah. Right? But the thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made is that any story that He put in His Quran is supposed to be repeated. It's a book that's supposed to be reflected upon. You can't reflect on something that just keeps happening, something new and something new and something new. Rather, things that are repeated, you can reflect on. You can think about those things which you hear more than once. And that's why today our memory is so short. You know, mashallah, the barakah of the phone, you can put so much hidayah through the phone, alhamdulillah. But it's become like our external hard drive for our memories. No one remembers anything anymore, so no one has anything to play with in their brains. When you memorize something, you can play with it in your mind. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the Surah Al-Kahf a story that we're supposed to reflect upon. Every time you finish a khatam of the Quran, you go through that surah. And you're supposed to listen to that story. And Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he made a beautiful remark. He said, on every Friday you should recite Surah Al-Kahf because it will protect you from Dajjal. Both spiritually, physically, both mentally and psychologically. If a person were to reflect on the stories of Surah Al-Kahf, he'll be safe, he'll be protected from Dajjal. There are 4 stories within Surah Al-Kahf. And I just want to mention it briefly. The main thing is Ashabul Kahf. The 4 stories are what? The people of the cave, then the 2 gardeners, then Musa alayhi salam, Khidr alayhi salam, and then Dhul Qarnayn, the story of Dhul Qarnayn. And each one has a trial that they go through. The story of Dhul Qarnayn is the trial of power. The story of Musa alayhi salam, Khidr alayhi salam is the trial of knowledge. And the trial of wealth is with the 2 gardeners. And the trial of iman and doubt is in the story of the people of the cave. And that's what we'll be reflecting on today, inshallah ta'ala. Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wanted that you recite this surah so that it protects you from Dajjal. There's a very powerful impact in this story itself. I want to ask everyone, who are the Ashabul Kahf? Were they prophets? No, right? Were they Sahaba, companions of prophets? No, not even that. Were they companions of the companions of prophets? Not even close. They are just normal kids, young adults who have devoted their life to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah ta'ala decided to mention in the middle of His book, the Quran Majid, Allahu Akbar Kabira. It's just because of the fact that you and I, has anyone met Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? No. Has anyone met a Sahabi? No. Has anyone met a Tabi'i, one who followed the Sahaba? No. We are just like them. We are just like them. At the time of Dajjal, there's no Nabi. There's no Sahabi, there's no Tabi'i. You can relate to these stories. What are the names of these kids? What are the names of these young adults? No one knows. Because you can put yourself in the shoes of these kids and become the student, become the Ashabul Kahf himself. If you follow their life, you follow their story. That's why it's so important to reflect over and over and over again. If you feel weak in iman, read the story of the people of the cave. It will renew your iman, inshallah ta'ala. And so we should reflect on the story. Allah ta'ala describes it in Surah Al-Kahf. He begins with what? The hamd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He proceeds to tell us that what? إِنَّا جَعَلْنَا مَا عَلَى الْأَرْضِ زِينَةً لَهَا لِنَبْلُوَهُمْ أَيُّهُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. By the way, if you can't recite the entire Surah Al-Kahf, you can recite the first 10 ayats, you can recite the last 10 ayats, you can memorize the first 3 ayats, and it will protect you from Dajjal, inshallah ta'ala. We all want to be protected from Dajjal, right? He's no joke. He's a one-eyed no joke. He's a serious guy. We need to protect ourselves from him. It's easy. Just 10 ayats in the beginning. إِنَّا جَعَلْنَا مَا عَلَى الْأَرْضِ زِينَةً لَهَا لِنَبْلُوَهُمْ أَيُّهُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, the reason why I created the earth is not so that people can enjoy forever. Like the brother mentioned about the breaths. And this life is very enjoyable, without a doubt. Video games are great. Call of Duty is great. It's all fun stuff. It's enjoyable stuff. It's wonderful stuff that we go through. But the reality is what? That this life is going to end one day. And you have to accept that reality. Allah Ta'ala says that this world that we made is, we created upon a zina. We created upon it an adornment. You and I perceive colors, right? What is the color blue, for example? Blue is, every other color is, so my eye will reject, so when light bounces off of the color blue, it goes into my eye, and so it rejects every other color, and the only other color that comes in my eye is blue. We can't even see the real color of things. This entire world that we're going through, we're just perceiving it. The real haqiqah we don't know. It's really filthy. It's really dirty, it's really disgusting. The dunya is made as a filthy thing. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says we put an adornment on top of it so that people can be tested by it. We want to see who's the best in actions. We want to see who's the one who does the most good deeds. We want to see the one who can come in front of Allah and show Allah ta'ala all the things that I have done in this life. And we said, Allah ta'ala says, and وَإِنَّا لَجَاعِلُونَ مَا عَلَيْهَا صَعِيدًا جُرُوزًا. We will return the earth to its desolate wasteland. Before it all goes, we'll go make it return back to what it was. أَمْ حَسِبَتَ أَنَّ أَصْحَابَ الْكَهْفِ وَالرَّقِيمِ كَانُوا مِنْ آيَاتِنَا عَجَبًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and oh Muhammad, are you in doubt? لا تهتمنا يا Muhammad. Don't be in doubt, don't be in worry, don't be in concern. Don't you remember the story of the people of the cave? Who are the people of the cave? After Isa alayhi salam, 100 or 200 years or so, there was this group of this community within the Roman society. The Romans, what did they worship? Greek gods, right? Yeah. We got like Zeus sitting on his throne, shooting light bolts at people. You got all this crazy like drama. It's like the drama of Hollywood back then. You know what I'm saying? It's exactly the same. It's just the same pattern, just repeated over and over and over again. The story that Allah Ta'ala tells us is these boys were raised in this community of Romans. And the people are worshipping idols. They build statues of Zeus. They sacrifice animals to these statues. They literally kill the animal and just burn it. And they say that the gods are fed by the smoke of the animal which is being roasted alive. You know, this is just a waste of stuff. You know, you and I can eat we can have like 10,000 cheeseburgers from this one cow, but we can't even have it because he just burnt it for some god that doesn't even exist. So the boys are raised in that society, and they're not regular kids. These young adults are from noble families. Noble families. You'll notice this important point that you'll find that the people who are with less wealth, they follow deen more. The people with less money have more inclination towards Islam. And so these boys are unique because they are from rich families. They have the gold, they have the silver, they have the bling bling, they have everything that they need. The clothing they have everything that they want. Subhanallah, bihamdi, subhanallah al-azim. But this doubt keeps coming in their heart. This one boy goes out to the outskirts of town. He says, why are people bowing down to rocks? And you know, it sounds very strange, but today people, the gold and silver idols of the past are just the dollar bills of today. Exactly the same. You ask a guy who has $10,000, can you just give $1 for the sake of Allah? No, my money. Oh, I can't give up money, come on. That's like my Lord, you know. I worship this thing. Allahu Akbar kabira. It's just the same thing. And now we just have paper idols instead of regular gold and silver idols. This man goes and sees the community, this young adult, and says, what's wrong? Why are these people worshiping idols? They make no sense. Then he goes and tells himself that there's one God who's created everything. The powerhouse behind everything. The laws of physics, the laws of the mechanisms that run this world are created by one being alone, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he recognizes it. He doesn't know the name of this Lord though. He calls him Rabb. You find in the Quran, throughout the entire story of Surah Al-Ashab al-Kahf, you can check me on this. But they never call Allah, Allah. They call him Rabb. They just say, Our Rabb, Our Rabb, Our Rabb. They just know He's the provider, He's the sustainer. This one kid is just hanging out on the outskirts. He sees other kids come too. A certain group of them come. And they're all just hanging out with each other. And each one is talking to each other and saying that, yeah, there's only one God. There's only one Lord. There's no such thing as these idols. It makes no sense. And they're getting to know each other. And they're getting to connect with each other. And each one is strengthening each other's iman and Islam. So they say that we need a place to hang out. Let's go and find a good place. And they said, we got to make sure no one sees us. So they find a cave. They say, let's go to the Kahf. The Kahf means cave. Let's go to the Kahf. That's where we're going to hang out. That's where we're going to talk all night about Allah. And talk about this Lord and everything. They don't know anything else. It's amazing. They don't know anything else. No prayer, no fasting, nothing. They just believe in Allah as their Rabb. That's all they talk about. They go night and night and night. You know, like you have those conversations with your friends on Facebook or WhatsApp or whatever app, and this, you know, Twitter, bitter, you know, whatever, you know, becoming a twit on Twitter. You're just talking and talking and talking about what? We don't know. Entire night goes by, we don't know what we're talking about. But these boys are spending their entire nights talking about Allah. That's all they could talk about. Eventually what happens is what? إِنَّهُمْ فِتْيَةٌ آمَنُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ وَزِدْنَاهُمْ هُدًى. you are a person that if you believe in Allah, properly have iman, Allah Ta'ala praises their iman, their belief. If you're a person who has proper belief in Allah, Allah will guide you not in the next life but in this life as well. He'll make everything easy for you. If you're saying, and we say this all the time, I don't have time. I don't have time. And we say, Ya Allah, if you could only create 25 hours in the day. It's not like that. 24 hours Allah Ta'ala designed for us. It's enough for us to function. It's enough for us to get everything done. And Allah Ta'ala will make it easy for you if you follow Iman and Islam. You practice your deen properly. Allah will give you time for your school. He'll give you time for your work. He'll give time for your Islam. He'll give you time for everything. وَزِدْنَاهُمْ هُدًى. We gave them the guidance for their life in this world and the hereafter. وَرَبَطْنَا عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ إِذْ قَامُوا فَقَالُوا رَبُّنَا رَبُّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ لَن نَّدْعُوا مِن دُونِهِ إِلَٰهًا. One thing happens after the other, one thing happens after the other. When you first start practicing Islam, I'm telling you from my own perspective, your family is the first people who are going to hate you. First people who are going to hate you is your family. They won't like it. Why is he keeping his beard? Why is he wearing a hat? Why has he got this crazy crown on his head? You know? Why is he doing all this stuff? Why is he going to the masjid at like 6 a.m. in the morning? Why is he doing anything like this? Why is she wearing a hijab? Why is she dressing more modestly? Why? They're like, come on, our family has an izzah, a respect. Why you're disgracing our family? Don't do that. Don't do that. So they naturally become more inclined towards Islam. Their life becomes better. So they go in front of their families, and the families are like, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you guys making sajda to these idols? We don't believe in them, ya Abba Amma. Maji, Baji, we don't follow them anymore. We don't believe in them. Baba, Mama, we don't follow them anymore. They're like, what are you, crazy? And this is spreading. They're kids. They're just like 17, 18, very young. And they tell their family straight up, we don't want to worship these idols anymore. The news spreads in the town. It gets to the king of the town. The king of the town, he completely despises this act of worshiping one Lord, one Rabb. So he calls the kids in front of him. And they go, and imagine if you're put in front of, I know Trump is not a good example. I used to have a good example with Obama. Don't have a good example anymore. Okay, so if you were put in front of an authority, let's say a police officer, that works better, right? Allahu Akbar. Don't hurt me, right? It's what? If you go in front of someone of authority, you start to shake. The knees start to quake. I was driving like 70 miles an hour, freak, now my knees are shaking because, wow, he got me, right? And so when you're standing in front of an authority figure, you feel like, wow, the jig is up. So they're standing in front of the king inside his court. And they're saying, we heard that you guys started worshipping other than Allah, other than our idols. Is this true? And at that moment, you can quake and you can shake and you can bake and you can just say, what? I give up. I don't want to, this stuff is just a joke. But they go and say, Allah Ta'ala says, we made their hearts firm. When the time comes for you to stand in front of people, you'll be able to stand in front of people. People say public speaking, they did a survey, they said public speaking is the #1 greatest fear in the world. Death is second. People don't like to speak in front of people. But when you have iman in your heart, it's just as if you're talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what's there to be afraid of? The kids stand in front of them, they say, and so the kid said, do you have any other Lord other than our idols? Rabbuna Rabbus samawati wal ard lan nad'u min dunihi ilaha. Our Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth. We won't call anyone other than Him. Laqad qulna idhan shatata. We're going to say a terrible thing if we say that Allah has a partner. They're telling the king right in his face. And then he said, the king thinks, okay, maybe they're in front of me and they have this audacity. Let's bring them in front of everyone. So then he brings the entire community. He brings them in front of them. And he tells them that, can you tell me now, do you worship the idols or you worship your one Allah or whatever? And he's thinking that they're going to break now because their entire family, community, society is there. Are they going to break all the society to do what? To worship one Lord? And they all go say what? هَؤُلَاءِ قَوْمٌ اتَّخَذُوا مِن دُونِهِ آلِهَةً لَوْلَا يَأْتُونَ عَلَيْهِمْ بِسُلْطَانٍ بَيِّنٍ فَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مِمَّنِ افْتَرَى عَلَى اللَّهِ كَذِبًا. What atrocious people these are. What terrible people these people are. They gave Allah a partner. They're telling everyone in their society, you're all wrong. Can anyone here do that? Stand up in your classroom and say, what you're worshipping of Jesus is wrong. It's wrong. It's not right. Can you do that? It's hard. They had the courage to do so. The king said, tomorrow you're being all executed. All you're going to be killed tomorrow. Enjoy your last night. Dang, man, it just went from like, stuff hit the fan, you know what I'm saying? And so they're so worried. So Allah Ta'ala, they were put in prison. Allah Ta'ala makes it so that the chains get loose. The guard leaves a key. Everything is guided by Allah. You will find that your life becomes easy. Buying a car becomes easy. Buying a place to rent out. Even getting a house, inshallah, will be easy. If you follow the tawfiq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah ta'ala leaves the key somewhere. He makes the chains loose. They get out of the jail cells. Start running. Where should we go? Where should we go? وَإِذِ اعْتَزَلْتُمُوا مَا يَعْبُدُونَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ فَأْوُوا إِلَى الْكَهْفِ. Let's go to the cave. They'll never find us there. It's outside of the town. They're not going to find us. So they start running, running, and running. A dog starts tagging along. They're like, okay, maybe we can use them as defense. This is Allah Ta'ala's subtle help. Allah Ta'ala will let you have nature behind you. Even the dog starts following them. They're like, okay, let the dog come. Let's go. So everyone's going. They're running to the cave. Allah Ta'ala is happy. In the Quran He mentions, وَمَا يَعْبُدُونَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Allah is so proud of them. The heavens and the earth are praising these kids. They don't worship anyone except for Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So He's so happy. So they look at the cave and they're saying, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Or maybe Allah Ta'ala will make this cave like a pillow for us. Maybe He'll make it comfortable for us. You know, how could you sleep on a cave? What's a cave have? Does it have like 5-star hotel? Is it a Hilton? No, it's like rocks and stalactites and stalagmites. It's like all these things and you can't even sleep on it. There's no way to, you're tossing and turning because it hurts so bad. You know, they go into the cave, they get such a sleep. They're so tired. Allah Ta'ala puts barakah in their sleep so they can just knock out right there on the cave floor. That cave floor is better than any 5-star hotel. I swear to Allah, if you and I slept on that, may Allah Ta'ala make our beds like that. Allahumma ameen, like a cave. Allah Akbar. So the king follows them, comes to the outskirts of the town. He sees the trail, and he finds them inside the cave, and he says, we're going to bury them in stones. So they broke the entrance of the cave and covered it with boulders, saying they're going to starve and die in there. That's it, they're finished. And so he left only like a small little opening for some sun rays to come in. So he's thinking they're dead meat. وترى الشمس إذا طلعت تزاورهم عن كهفهم ذات اليمين وإذا غربت تقرضهم ذات الشمال وهم في فجوة منه. Okay? When the king came to do his plan of burying them alive, right? What happened was the dog was set in front and his paws were extended out of the cave and he was out there with his paws out. And so imagine like there's a dark cave and you can't see inside and the only thing you see are these paws coming out of it and the sharp claws. How terrified would you be? And you'd say, you know what, I'm not going in there, there might be a lion. And this is a little dog. But Allah Ta'ala put into the hearts of His enemies, the enemies of those believers, that it's like a lion in there, don't go in there. You would run away from them. You know, you would run away if you saw them just being inside the cave. So the king came and he said, you know what, we're not dealing with this, they left. And so now the sun is coming up. The sun comes up and Allah Ta'ala says, وَتَرَى الشَّمْسَ إِذَا طَلَعَتْ تَزَاوَرُ عَنْ كَهْفِهِمْ ذَاتِ الْيَمِينِ. These boys are tired. And Allah Ta'ala wants them to have a very good sleep. Very, very, very long sleep. So Allah Ta'ala, so what bothers your sleep? Number 1 is alarm clock. Alhamdulillah, they don't have that problem. Number 2 is job. They don't have that problem. 3, school. They don't have that problem. The sun can wake you up too. There's no curtains in the cave. There's nothing to conceal them from the sun. So what do? Allah Ta'ala makes it so that the sun doesn't bother them. When the sun came up, the sun would ziyara, it would cross them without the sun rays going inside. And the sun would do them alone because it's brighter at sunset. You see how many lights come in at the house when it's sunset? It's so many lights. And it bothers you if you're trying to take rest. You cannot take rest just because of all that lights. So the sun did them a favor. It did a loan to them. And so the lights, literally the sun rays would come, the ulama mentioned, and it would go around the cave. It wouldn't go inside so they could sleep. And any time that the sun would come in, they would be turning left and right. Because you know, you can get sores on your body from staying in one position for too long. Everyone today here, they like to sleep on their stomachs. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Shaitan likes to sleep on his stomach. Don't do that. They were sleeping on their rights and their left, and they were tossing and turning. So that way Allah Ta'ala will make sure they don't get any sores. Patients in hospitals, what happens is, because they stay in one position for too long, they get sores on their bodies. So Allah Ta'ala is turning them while they're inside the cave. So while they're sleeping, the sun is not bothering them, their bodies aren't bothering them, the cave is protected by the dog, and what happens is day after day after day goes by. No food, no drink, Allah Ta'ala stops the system in the body. Everything is frozen. Day after day after day goes by, week after week, month after month, year after year after year goes by, 309 years go by. And they're just sleeping. Then finally the alarm clock is hit by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they wake up. And they get up and they say, oh, how long have we been sleeping for? I don't know, the sun's up. Feels like a day, half a day. something, and they're just arguing with each other, and they're like little youth, right? So just, just stop talking about who cares what time it is. We're hungry. We're hungry, let's go get some food. They abandoned what? They abandoned their wealth, their families, and the markets, and the hangout places, the chill places that they used to have. Everything they left just for what? For Allah. Allah loved that about them. So they're thinking what? We have to go back in town and grab what's there, right? We have to go back and get some food. But if we go back, we're going to be killed. The king wanted to kill us. So one of you have to go in like disguise. So cover your head, go in, pretend like you're a nobody, right? Conceal everything about you. Go in there and you have to do two things. We want, number one, halal food. Azka ta'aman, right? This is very important. For anyone who's trying to find their deen in Islam, you got to eat halal. You got to eat halal. And I'm talking about like, people will hate you. That's how halal you became. Man, he doesn't even eat with us anymore. We go to eat at all these places. It's like, no, I just have doubt. It's good. It's good if you have doubt. It's halal to have doubt. It's super halal to have doubt. Even if he tells you it's 100% halal, give a little bit of doubt in there. Azka ta'aman. This is how you become a wali of Allah, a friend of Allah. So they doubted the food. And they said, go find the most halal food out there. وَلْيَتَلَطَّفْ, and be very kind. You want to become a friend of Allah, you need these two things. One, you got to eat halal. Number two, your tongue has to be in control. A lot of us have really bad tempers. Really bad tempers. And while growing up, especially in this community, I was born and raised in New York. I don't know, New York and Boston seem like the same to me. I came in here, I was so happy, I thought I was in New York again. MashaAllah. It's a wonderful place, MashaAllah. May Allah give barakah and khair and hidayah in here. Allahumma ameen. Everyone say ameen. It's fine, right? We can make dua for the non-Muslims, right? It's not haram, right? We should be. And we were raised in this community where, like Jackie Chan was talking about his father. He said that when I used to come in front of my father, I used to get up from my house and how are you? When he enters the house. And he said, when I send my son to the school, this is what he does when I get home. Hey dad, how are you? That's how we're raised in this community, unfortunately. The hidayah is not even close. The adab is not even there. So one thing we have to do when we start practicing Islam is that we have to control our tongues, not talk as garbage as we used to. Don't rage quit, don't curse, don't slander. Be good with your tongue. If you are good with your tongue, the non-Muslims will love you. If they love you, they will never ever say to kick you out your country or whatever. You'll be fine. But what happens is we have very bad tongues. And look at what Ashabul Kahf teach us. They teach us that you shouldn't be noticed. We as Muslims want to be on media. We want to be on YouTube. We want to be on Twitter. We want to be on Facebook. We want ourselves to be noticed. I disagree with it. Because when you get noticed, then people start trying to find faults with you. And you can't even have your masjid anymore. They try to close down your masjid. They call you terrorists and this and that. Don't get yourself noticed. Just do what you need to do. So they go back into town. And the guy goes into the restaurants and he's looking around. The streets don't look the same anymore. How many years has it been? 309 years. Long time. He's going into town. He's looking around and he's finding that nothing is the same. Left and right, left and right. He's trying to find all his places, all the bazaars. Nothing is there is the same. And he finally found a restaurant. He's like, okay, maybe I'll go in here. It looks like halal food. Because again, they're non-Muslims. They don't know anything about halal. So, he has to find something that's trustworthy. So he finds some kind of like vegan, vegetarian place. Sometimes you got to do that. And so he goes in there. And he sits down and he orders something. And he's trying to order like a very big order. Like for 7 people. Because he has like all the people back in the cave. They're not actually 7, but just around that number. A huge amount. And something for the dog too. So the guy's like, that's very interesting. You're buying all this food, There's only yourself. He's like, no, just, I have a big appetite. And then he takes out his coins. And he takes out some currency. And they're looking at the coins. They're like, what is this money that you're bringing? He's like, what? It's just standard gold, silver coins that we used to use. It's silver. And then he's like, no, these are like antiques. He's like, these haven't been used for like 300 years. And then it's becoming a big commotion inside the restaurant. Everyone's looking around. They're looking at these people. They're like, are you guys even from around here? This is like really old. And they start to notice him. And then, the kid, he breaks down. And he tells them that we are kids that fled from the community. And we're really worried about the king that's here. And they're like, wow, you're those kids. You're those young adults. And he's like, what young adults? What kids? He's like, no, we have to bring you to the king. Can you show us all your friends? And he's panicking. He's like, the king is going to kill us. We're dead meat. Inshallah, yeah, definitely. Finish in that time. And we're dead meat if we go back. But he says, you know what, they're like, no, the king is very nice, we'll take you to the king, don't worry. So he goes to the cave, he meets the cave, the people, and they bring all the friends out, and they meet the people, and everyone's happy to see them. They're saying, you're those young adults, you're those young adults. It's like, what young adults? We heard about the story of the people of the past, where these young adults, they fled from the town, because they worshipped only one Rabb, only one Allah. And this story spread in our communities, so we all started worshipping this one Allah. And so 300 years later, we're much more comfortable with that. They're like, 300 years. They go meet the king, and they're thinking it's the same king from before. They see this new king, the king comes and embraces them and says, no, I believe in one Allah. I believe in one Rabb. The entire community changed because of what? Because of these kids. And this entire story was brought in the Quran to remind us of what? أَنَّ السَّاعَةَ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهَا. That the way Allah Ta'ala resurrected these kids from their sleep is the same way you and I will be resurrected in front of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala one day. We're never going to be able to avoid that. When you die, there's no Jesus, there's no Santa, there's no tooth fairy. It's only Allah. What's our problem today? And I wanted to mention this inshallah ta'ala in brief, and I'll finish with this point. What our problem today is what? When we listen to these stories or our doubt in Iman and whatever, what happens is we start bringing up these random questions. People, they listen to the story of the people of the cave, and they start asking, how many were they? They start asking, what type of dog was it? They start asking, where was it? What are the names of these kids? They start asking all these obnoxious questions. What Dajjal will make you do at the end of times is, Dajjal will make you feel that I have to ask all these questions about Islam. I can't even talk about Islam the way I want to because of what? I have all these questions in my heart. He'll put these doubts and doubts and doubts and doubts in your mind. The same way about the people of the cave. People start asking these random questions. Allah is telling you, do not miss the point. Do not miss the point. You have an opportunity by believing in Allah, you can become the beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I will tell you the problem of today's society is this, that we as Muslims, we focus on all these small little things. And we do them for really bad intentions. We want to become famous. We post something on Twitter and WhatsApp and YouTube and Facebook because we want likes on our post or whatever. We want to become famous on these websites. But you're supposed to do it for Allah. These kids became famous in the eyes of Allah. So Allah recorded them in a book. They didn't pray, they didn't fast, they had nothing except their belief in Allah. You want to become famous, you want to become YouTube whatever famous, you want to become super whatever, do it for Allah. And just love Allah. People ask you so many questions, how is Islam, this whatever. You tell them, look, I just believe. I just believe. I have nothing, I don't have any doubts. I just believe. You can ask whatever. Imam Razi rahmatullahi ta'ala, my final thing inshallah, we'll finish. Imam Razi rahmatullahi at the time of his death, it's mentioned in the books that Iblis, shaitan came to him in his full-fledged form. Imam Razi is a man who was very proficient in logic. He was very intelligent. They said he had 100 proofs for the existence of Allah. Iblis comes to him, and there's no one smarter than Iblis. He's very intelligent. You and I have years of experience. He's had thousands and thousands of years. So he goes in front of Imam Razi and says, what is your proof that Allah Ta'ala exists? And Imam Razi brings proof after proof after proof. And shaitan comes and says that I have every single refutation of those proofs. And he crushes every single proof. Every 100 that he had, Imam Razi that he brought, shaitan defeated every single one of those proofs. He said, what else do you have? He said, I don't have any more proofs, I just believe in Allah. He said, I can't defeat that then. May Allah give us that iman, that pure iman. May Allah allow us to have that iman in this troubling society. Don't break, don't shake, don't quake, don't get your, don't worry about Trump or Dump or whoever, whatever, it doesn't matter. May Allah give us that iman which is khalis for Him. May Allah make this masjid that's being established being like the cave of the Ashabul Kahf, Allahumma ameen. And make that our iman become like the people of the cave. Make us true friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And may Allah put barakah in all of our lives. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Jazakumullah. Assalamu alaikum.